We good? We're good? We're good. Good evening, Ajax. I'm Mayor Collier. Thank you for joining us online this evening for our special Live with the Mayor 2020 edition. I'd like to start off by doing our land acknowledgement. We'll begin the event by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island and the Chippewas of the Anishinaabe, known today as the Williams Treaties First Nation. This place is and will continue to be home to Indigenous peoples. Let us move forward with kindness and respect. I'm coming to you here live from the St. Francis Centre in Ajax. Our broadcast is brought to you in partnership with CyberX, and our guests are joining us remotely, and we thank you in advance for your patience so if we do experience any technical difficulties. And before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to my Ajax councillors who I know are watching this event. We've got regional councillors Crawford, Lee, and Dyes, and local councillors Tyler Morin, Kahn, and Bauer. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. 2020 has been a very challenging year, and I want to thank each of you for the practices you put in place to protect yourself and our community from the spread of COVID-19. We all have a personal responsibility to be selective with outings and to follow the 3 W's: washing your hands, wearing a mask, and watching your distance. We have a full program planned this evening, and shortly we'll be welcoming our special guests for an interactive live discussion and question and answers about COVID-19 impacts, business recovery, and our future. If you have any questions for myself or our guests, please comment on our live Facebook feed below or submit on our IMO platform at ajax.ca/mth. I want to go quickly over how we're going to go through this evening before we jump right in. I'll introduce each of our guests individually. They'll join me on screen for a welcome discussion and a brief question and answers. So please continue to ask your questions below. Our team will be responding, and the comments and questions will be coming through out the hour for us to answer live. You'll hear our off-camera moderator's voice relaying questions, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible over this coming hour. And at the end of our segment, we'll bring all guests on screen for a panel question and answer opportunity and final thoughts before we wrap up. You'll have the opportunity to hear from our guests and ask your questions about topics that are important and timely. You can ask Simon Gill from Invest Durham about business supports available locally, Sumega Kumar from Amazon Canada about the new distribution center coming to Ajax, Dr. Robert Kyle, Medical Officer of Health, about COVID-19 spread, and Honorable Rod Phillips, Minister of Finance and MPP for Ajax, about any provincial issues like the Durham Live MZO. A full recording of tonight's program will be available immediately after the broadcast and will be airing locally on Rogers TV Durham. So let's get right down to it. Our first guest this evening is Simon Gill, Director of Invest Durham.
It's no secret that the world has changed. Things will return to normal. But what's our new normal? Throughout these difficult times, one thing is certain: you're not alone. In some ways, this time has brought us closer together. It has reminded us of what we value most. Freedom to explore, to learn, to be with each other. A time to grow and lead, to study our history and cheer on those who are shaping the future, to celebrate our amazing local talent and the bright minds that fuel local opportunities. Durham Region is our home. This isn't just where we swam, ate, and got coffee. It's where we caught our first fish, where we skinned our knees, where we learned to get back up. This is where we learned to be us. We know our world has changed, but through this, we have learned to help each other, to take time for important meetings, to stay connected even while apart, to ensure our community's most vulnerable never feel alone. This isn't the first time we've come together to support each other, and it won't be the last. After this has passed, will always appreciate this place we call home.
We good? Hey, Simon, how are you tonight?
Hey, Mayor Collier. Great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for joining us. That was a great video.
Thanks.
So really appreciate it. I wonder, do you have any opening comments before we go out to the audience for some questions?
Well, just that it's great to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. And I'm really excited to share everything I can with you and the audience about impacts on local businesses and all the great work that the Durham Economic Task Force has been doing to help support them. And the name of the game really is support local and digital transformation. And I'd be happy to kind of dig into those two things a little bit more. But yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions. This has been one of the main topics and the main issues we've had to deal with throughout COVID is how to help our businesses, our shop local campaigns and everything else. So let's turn it over to Rachel for some questions.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. So our first question is coming from John. John asks, the Durham Economic Task Force has been a real source of support for our business community in response to COVID-19. Who makes up this group? Why is it so powerful? And how are these organizations all collaborating?
Great question. Simon?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So the Durham Economic Task Force came together back in March when the pandemic started because we all knew across the region that impacts on local businesses were going to be severe and something had to be done to put support in place to help them. So all of the area municipal economic development teams, including the town of Ajax, along with the region of Durham, the chambers of commerce and the boards of trade like Ajax Pickering Board of Trade, and all the BIAs, joined forces with the Small Business Advisory Center and the province to survey the local community, find out what kind of impacts were being felt and what kind of supports were needed. And the task force has been meeting ever since that first phone call in March, every 2 weeks, and we are continually fine-tuning our approach to provide the right mix of programs and resources to the local business community.
And there's been a lot of great suggestions come out of that group as well. I mean, one of the things that we instituted here in the town was our patio licensing, which I know a lot of other municipalities did as well. These are just some things that we're able to do to sort of assist and help our businesses get through this tough time and still stay open for business. So.
Yeah, Ajax was a real leader on that, and in fact, the region, followed suit. We acted quickly to kind of follow suit and put a streamlined process in place for patios on regional property as well. And happy to report that well over 100 small restaurants and food service companies across the region were able to quickly, over the course of a couple of weeks, put outdoor seating in place. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, no, it was a great initiative. Rachel, do we have any others?
Yes, I've got a question that's just come in from Angie. Angie asks, how can I get involved in the Durham Economic Task Force?
Well, that's one I really don't know. Simon, take it away.
No, that's a great question. One of the biggest things that we have found very helpful from the local business community is participating in the surveys that we put out. We've done 3 surveys already, and about 1,500 responses came back, which is a fantastic response. But we've got another one out right now, and any and all feedback we can get from small, medium, or large-sized businesses will help us craft the types of response programming, the types of information, the types of grants that we should be advocating for. So, just continued participation and engagement with the chambers and the chambers of commerce and the boards of trade and your local area municipal economic development teams is hugely valuable.
Yeah, one thing we did here was reach out to a lot of local businesses with our economic development staff and just share ideas. And by speaking with some of the businesses, we were able to transfer some of the knowledge and some of the ways that they've been able to pivot and do things to some of the other businesses and assist them as well. So we created sort of that knowledge network to get out and help as many people as we can, whether it's sourcing PPE, or whether it's just how to get around and follow the rules and do it properly. So it's been a real we're all in it together type process.
In fact, on the PPE front, what's really interesting is with that feedback from the business community, the Durham Economic Task Force put together a local PPE listing with well over 100 companies. In fact, I think there were 5 Ajax businesses that are on the PPE directory online. And I think that we were the first municipality in Canada to put together a local PPE directory, and the province built one a couple of weeks later. But it's been really helpful for small and medium-sized businesses to get their PPE, but at the same time, support local while they're doing it.
Yeah, and a lot of them just even knowing where to get those resources, where to go to get that information. So we've created those central databases of these types of things, which have really been helpful. How are we doing for time? Do we have time for one more?
We definitely do, and I'd just like to update you. We've got about 80 people watching live right now on Facebook,
Awesome.
So it's excellent. So please continue to comment below, ask your questions, and you can also submit questions through IMO at ajax.ca/mth. Our next question is from Connor. For business owners who are watching tonight, what are 3 available supports that they should take advantage of, and how do they find out more information about them?
Okay, Simon, you go first, and then I'll add.
Sure. Okay. The most important one I would say is the digital transformation services that are available right now. So if you go to investdurham.ca/digital services, there's free money available for businesses that want to set up an e-commerce platform, set up a stronger digital presence. There's free services available to help businesses do that. And if you're looking to do it on your own and you're looking for e-commerce support type services, if you go to investdurham.ca/local e-commerce, it's a listing of all the local businesses that are providing digital transformation services. And in fact, there's a couple of great Ajax businesses listed on there as well. So digital transformation is the name of the game. And another major program that the task force is doing to help local businesses is all of our promotional activities to support spending on local businesses. So all of the residents of Durham region are getting promotional materials from the region, from the town, and from the rest of the task force, encouraging them to go explore all the great things that our local small retailers and small food service businesses have to offer. And the task force has actually put them all together in one great place on downtownsofdurham.ca. It's a new portal where we're just showcasing all of the great ways to rediscover our downtowns virtually from home.
Yeah. And I'll just speak quickly to our COVID-19 response. We put out our Vision 2020 or 2020 Vision. I don't remember which one it is, but which again outlines all the steps that people can take to get the information they need. And if you need more information, please reach out through the chat box to our staff, and we will give you the information for economic development people as well. Is that about wrap up our time for questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon.
Yeah, okay.
Great
well,
pleasure.
I do appreciate that, Simon, for your insights and all you do to support local business in close cooperation with our own economic development team. Don't go anywhere. We'll have you back during the wrap-up panel at the end. And thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Moving on, we've got a very exciting guest next. It's very exciting to have our next guest join us for the first time in Ajax, Sumegha Kumar, Director of Operations for Amazon Canada. And here's a quick video of our Amazon announcement. Hi Ajax, I'm here on location at Roslyn Salem Road for a very special occasion. Today, Amazon announced that this location will soon become the home to its newest fulfillment center. This means 1,000 new, high-quality jobs available for Ajax and Durham Regional residents in 2021. On behalf of Ajax Council, I want to thank Amazon and express our excitement that they've chosen to invest in our great town of Ajax. Amazon's name is synonymous with innovation, growth, and technology, all of which reflect Council's vision for Ajax. Being a host to a global leader like Amazon will mean so much to the community, keeping employment strong, not just in Ajax, but across the region as we recover from COVID-19. Amazon's newest facility, the 9th in Ontario, will anchor the GTA East Industrial Park, located on 58 acres of shovel-ready, prestige employment lands here at Salem and Roslyn Road. The new addition will boast 1 million square feet and join Amazon's growing network of 175 fulfillment centers worldwide. This announcement underscores Council's commitment to our residents that we're pursuing every lead, big or small, throughout the 2018 and 22 term to achieve the town's potential. Thank you, Amazon, and welcome to Ajax. welcome, Samega. We're so excited to welcome
Thank you.
Amazon to Ajax, and thank you very much for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. Before we get down to business and some questions, do you have any opening remarks you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to announce our fulfillment center in Ajax. Very excited to be here. And obviously, thank you, Mayor Collier, for all the support that you've provided in the last few months in helping make this happen. But very excited to bring this fulfillment center to Ajax and make it our new home.
Well, very, very big welcome from us to you. And thank you for being here this evening. Let's open it up to questions. Rachel?
Thank you so much. So I'd just like to say we've got over 85 people now joining us online. So please continue to like, share, provide your comments, and please share our feed with your networks and your feeds right now. So our first question is coming from Timothy. And the question is, why did you choose Ajax as the location for your new fulfillment center?
Well, I certainly can't answer that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at new locations for our fulfillment centers, we look at a couple of different criteria. One being how close we are to our customers. How can we offer them a wide variety of product in the shortest possible time frame? And we want to be as close as possible to our customers. Second, we also look at how do we staff these fulfillment centers, buildings with talented workforce from the community. And just based on these two criteria, we're very excited to announce Ajax as our next location to be closer to customers and also help provide over 1,000 full-time jobs in Amazon with our Ajax fulfillment center.
Thank you. And I'll just add to that these lands are pretty much the only shovel-ready employment lands in Durham. Ajax Council back in 2007 pre-serviced these lands, so they're literally shovel-ready. And we also are the only municipality in Canada to have the competitive ready designation. And what that means, it means we've already met all these different standards. So if you are a site selector for a large company like Amazon and you're looking where you're going to locate and you see that competitive ready designation, you know that we've already met many of their criteria. So I think it was a great partnership together. I mean, we worked through a few things, and now we've got shovels in the ground. Anybody watching over there can see the buildings going up very quickly and going to be open in September, I believe. So Rachel, next question.
Yeah, we have a question that's just come in from Sean, and Sean would like to know, can you please tell him, will Amazon be looking for employees from the town of Ajax?
Yeah, that's a great question. How are you going to recruit your workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. We do need a lot of people for our fulfillment center in Ajax. We will have over 1,000 full-time jobs of all aspects, including fulfillment associates and a wide variety of roles that we will offer up. So as you get closer to the launch, you can visit our website, amazon.com and amazonjobs.com, and you'll be able to see the wide variety of roles that we have posted there as we get closer to the launch.
Will you be holding any job fairs in town as we get closer?
We don't have a plan as of now, but we will let you know as soon as we firm up that answer for you.
Okay, and we'll do everything we can to accommodate. So that's
Absolutely.
Great. Perfect. Rachel?
Yeah, and just a follow-up question to that, why should people consider working for Amazon?
Over to you.
Amazon was recently named number 2 on Forbes' World's Best Employer list, and we're very proud to be that. Amazon offers competitive hourly wages and also great benefits package starting day one. We focus a lot on career progression as well. We offer a wide variety of programs like Career Choice, wherein we look at providing up to 95% of tuition fees for our associates who want to learn and upskill their talent through any course that they want to, which can be helpful inside or outside of Amazon. So a good package in terms of competitive wages, benefits starting day one, and great career progression and a great culture makes Amazon a good place to work in.
Oh, that's awesome. And one thing I'll add, we have 70% of our population has to travel outside of Ajax to work every day. So this council, one of our main focuses is economic development and creating jobs here so those people don't have to travel outside of our town, so people can live and work here. So you know, this is a great opportunity for people, and again, a lot of people that may have lost their jobs throughout COVID as well, to provide these here in town for our residents. So, great opportunity. And I think we have time for one more, don't we?
Yes, our final question comes from Stephanie. Can you tell us a bit about the fulfillment center and how it works?
Yeah, so this particular fulfillment center will be 1 million square feet. We will, like I said, employ 1,000 full-time associates. From this fulfillment center, we will actually ship larger items like our kayaks, patio furniture, bikes, etc., to our customers. And we receive goods, we process them, and we ship them to you as fast as we can. And we try and offer the widest variety possible in terms of selection on our website, so you're able to get these products while sitting at home.
Well, that's awesome. I hope that answered that question. I think that's all the time we have for questions now. So we'll leave it there, but please stay with us. We're going to have you back at the end of this, and we'll have a panel discussion in about 20 minutes. So we look forward to having you back again then, but thank you again for joining us right now. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next guest we're going to have is Dr. Kyle. Dr. Kyle is our Medical Officer of Health for the region of Durham. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I'd like to turn the floor over to you for now if you have any opening comments.
Yes, I do. So we're well into the second wave of COVID-19. To date in the pandemic, we've had just under 3,200 cases. Currently, we have 246 active cases. Fortunately, we only have a few outbreaks in a variety of settings. And overall, we think that containment is working. We think the healthcare system, public health laboratory system is functioning well and responding appropriately. We're very proud of our public reporting on our COVID data tracker. And for your audience, in addition to the data tracker, we of course have a wealth of information at durham.ca/novel coronavirus, including for the business community, the Community Reopening Toolkit. Lastly, responding to COVID-19 is a all of Durham response. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So a shout out to our regional, our municipal, healthcare community partners, including the business community. And I don't know if it was projected, but I did send to the organizers a resource that shows some of our metrics. In particular, we're very proud of our data tracker, which has had over 1 million clicks. So we think it's serving a need. So I'll end there and happy to take any questions, Mayor Collier, that come our way.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I think, do we have that graphic up on the screen Dr. Kyle is referring to? Yes, okay, good. I'm seeing yes. Generally, I'll start with the first question. Generally, Ajax, we like to be number one, except for not in this case, as being the most number of COVID-19 cases. I wonder, can you speak just quickly as to what the main cause is of spread right now and the best way that we can keep ourselves safe?
Sure. So the best way of keeping oneself safe is a standard message. So hand hygiene, respiratory etiquette, physical distancing, masking in indoor public settings, adhere to gathering limits, and of course, if you're sick, stay home. In terms of what's happening in Ajax in particular, I'm going by memory, about 1/3 of the cases are community transmission. We don't know where they've come from. If there is a transmission, the majority is in households and of other contexts in informal settings. A few are in workplaces, but for the most part, we're seeing community transmission and in particular household transmission and other contexts.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure there's lots of questions, so we'll turn it over to Rachel. Who have you got?
Thank you. Okay, so the next question that we have is coming from Christy. Will people ever need to provide proof that they have a medical exemption if they don't want to wear a mask in public?
Great question.
So thanks for the question. The answer is no. We're requiring good faith efforts on the part of affected settings and businesses. And we think that if you require proof of exemptions, that you're going to tax, if you will, the primary care system, which is just recovering, if you will, from shutting down in the first wave. So there are no requirements by me under my instructions, and there are no requirements with respect to the provincial masking requirements, certainly at this time.
Very good. Thank you. Rachel?
Okay. Our next question comes from Sandy. How many COVID-19 cases are in Ajax versus Durham region? And then a follow-up to that, is there somewhere online to see these stats?
Yes, so we're very proud of the COVID data tracker. Go to durham.ca/COVID cases. And if you go to case status, the first page, you can look at Durham as a whole, and you can also click on Ajax, and it will give you Ajax-specific data. I think there are 91 active cases in Ajax, and as I said, there are 250 or so, just under that, for Durham as a whole.
Right, right. And that COVID tracker is very, very impressive. I've shared that link many, many times with many residents, and it's really kept us up to date on what's been happening out there. Next question, please, Rachel.
The next question is around mental health. So we know that through COVID-19, it has been, quite a challenging time for many people. What are your best advice for those that are experiencing, any challenges with mental health, and to, continue to keep, a healthy mindset during COVID-19?
Yeah, so COVID-19 has really taken a toll on people's mental health. There is pandemic fatigue that has occurred. There are a wealth of online resources. I don't have a link at my fingertip, but I know the province is invested in mental health resources, and there are online supports. I believe we have the same and on our website, and it's a very, very important aspect of and a result of the challenges posed by COVID-19. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's a very important consideration.
One of the things we've found here in Ajax is that people have really wanted to get outdoors and embrace our public spaces, that for their mental health, just getting out and exercising in the sun and the activities. So we've been really working very hard to promote that here. We just had most recently the trail marking system to give those guided sort of areas around a lot of different areas in Ajax. So we've been working very hard to do those types of things. We've also had, I believe, our seniors call-out program as well, where we've actually reaching out to people proactively, just checking in, how are you doing, that type of thing, make sure that people are okay. So it's been a real sort of team effort here. Rachel?
So this next question really ties in nicely to the business support side, as well as how businesses can ensure that they're following guidelines and safety protocols. So Dr. Kyle, can you just give sort of an overview on what businesses can be doing to continue to have safety protocols and guidelines in place and continue to enhance them as we continue to manage COVID-19?
So thank you for the question. I would refer your viewers to durham.ca/reopening toolkit. And we have a host of sector-specific guidelines that are useful in terms of businesses that need guidance. In addition, I would urge those who still have questions to contact us at Durham Health Connection line, and they can access the numbers through durham.ca/novel coronavirus. We've worked closely with Simon and his team as well, and I'm sure that if you have natural linkages to Durham Region Economic Development or the local economic development department, that can act as a conduit to get questions to us so we can respond directly to an inquiry or a request.
Okay. I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Are you okay with a couple more questions, Dr. Kyle? I think probably you're probably going to get the most. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to ask you one myself. We, as far as the blanket closings that were happening in Toronto and Peel, there was a real sort of outcry from a lot of the businesses. So we were really talking about having a sort of a fact-based type thing. As far as, what are your thoughts on this blanket openings versus what we are doing now with the new program that the province has just announced?
So thanks for the question. I think the best response would be to make reference to a new COVID response framework that was announced by the Premier 2 days ago. It is organized according to prevent, protect, restrict, and goes to lockdown. So it sets up some general public health measures, and then as you move from green to yellow to amber to red, it layers on additional requirements. We think that that is a good approach. We think in Durham Region that you don't need to go to a fairly blunt and broad set of requirements that are currently in place in York, Ottawa, Peel, and Toronto. We do think it makes sense to look at your numbers, look at are you able to contain the virus? Are you able to respond without overwhelming or exceeding your capacity? And we think that this new framework really is in line with our thinking. In terms of where Durham sits on the color scheme, we're expecting an announcement on Friday. The measures are to take effect on the weekend. We don't think there'll be much of an impact in terms of where we're at in Durham Region. So my advice would be stay tuned to news at 11, so to speak, on Friday, where we expect the framework, which was announced on Tuesday, will get operationalized across the GTA, including Durham Region. But we think the approach that you started your question off with makes sense.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I think we have probably time for one more question, Rachel?
Yeah, we have quite a few questions still coming in, Dr. Kyle. So we do have time. We'll be getting set to welcome our final guest shortly, but we do have some more time here. So we will allow for about 2 to 3 more questions. I'd just like to let you know that we have well over 150 people watching us live right now on YouTube, as well as on the town's Facebook page.
Awesome.
So the next question is, how is Durham Health coordinating services like testing with our hospitals?
Great question.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So generally speaking, the testing at fixed sites is being organized by Lakeridge Health. It has a table which is populated by stakeholders, including the health department. So we're in regular contact with them with respect to fixed sites. In addition, we as a department have made it a priority if we hear about cases in childcare centers, in schools, in congregate living centers, so group homes and shelters, and where they need our assistance, long-term care homes and retirement homes, we provide assistance, and testing is done by our paramedics. Region of Durham Paramedic Services is a division of the health department. So we've had a very robust mobile response in terms of testing. All of the specimens are then sent to the laboratory system, and then depending on whether it's the mobile system where we will deal with reporting out of positives and answer inquiries with respect to negatives, Lake Ridge Health would do the same for the fixed sites. So we think we're working very well together with Lake Ridge Health, and we've been doing so for quite a while. So part of the overall COVID-19 response, and we think by and large it's working well. So thanks for the question.
No, it's a great answer. Thank you.
Okay, so next question. As we're moving into the winter months now, what are some of the precautions and things that people should be doing as we go into the colder months and we're spending more time indoors?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the challenge with being indoors is if you look at the contributors to transmission, there's close contact, there's crowding, there is perhaps poor ventilation, and a number of other factors that that promote, if you will, transmission of COVID-19. So the message is, in all settings, don't let your guard down. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The public health measures are pretty simple, and I'll repeat them: hand and respiratory hygiene, physical distancing, respect gathering limits, wear mask indoors, try to avoid prolonged contact, and otherwise follow the rules that are in place. And if we do that, then we will be able to continue to contain cases and contact. We won't overwhelm our system, and that won't place us at risk to moving along the framework from green or yellow, where we are likely to be placed, to amber or red. But it does take a whole of Durham response, both institutional partners on the healthcare side, as well as all of us individually. But I'm confident that we'll get through this if we all stick together. Thank you.
Thank you. I remember when this first started back in, it was March or April, and I think I was in line at Costco or somewhere, and we were all lined up outside. And I remember having this discussion with the people 2 meters away from me saying, aren't you glad this didn't happen in January? Like, can you imagine if we had to be forced inside and couldn't? So here we are, and we're going to have to figure out how to deal with that
Yes.
and still be vigilant against this. I think we have one more, Rachel, and then we're going to have to move on to our next guest.
Yeah, our final question is just around mask wearing and why it's so important to wear your mask properly.
And just one addition to that, Dr. Tam, I believe, has just talked about having to go to a 3-ply mask. So maybe you could speak to that as well, Dr. Kyle.
Yeah. So we've learned about COVID-19 as we have experienced it, and we know that not everybody who is exposed to COVID-19 either is symptomatic or has symptoms during the period that they're communicable. So the purpose of wearing masks, particularly indoors, as I say, where it's crowded, there's maybe poor ventilation, where physical distancing is a challenge, prolonged contact is a challenge, the use of a mask is to protect others from you if you are a potential shedder. I would differentiate that from those who work in settings where they need to be protected from others, and that usually is healthcare settings. So hospitals, primary care, dentist offices, and so forth. So that's why it's so important. The evidence is evolving. I haven't had a chance to digest the information from Dr. Tam, but I think she's making the point that if you have a choice in terms of the face covering or mask you're going to wear, you probably are going to get more protection, say with a surgical mask or a triple layer mask than say a simple single layer face covering. So it takes a while to accumulate this evidence, but once it is accumulated, once there is a scientific consensus, then I'm sure that Dr. Tam, Dr. Williams, others want to get that information out to make a difference as we're learning and as we go along with the COVID-19.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Kyle. That information was incredibly helpful. We really appreciate it and look forward to you staying around for the final chat panel in about 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Just looking over here, I understand that MP Mark Holland's office is tuned in with us as well tonight. So welcome. Thank you very much for coming. And just to the public watching, if you do have any questions related to federal funding programs for individuals, you can reach out to Deb or Ishan through the chat box. They're actually on the call tonight, and I'd be glad to have your questions. Now time for our last guest, last but not least. Our final guest this evening really needs no introduction. Oh, he's already there. Really needs no introduction. If you don't know our local Premier's COVID-19 response team, Minister Phillips has been at the table with his federal counterparts and across the country to design and implement funding programs and budgetary responses to the pandemic. And we're lucky to call him our local MP. Welcome, Minister Phillips. And this is especially good to have you because I know you have budget day tomorrow. So you're incredibly busy. Oh, I think you're muted.
There we go.
Yeah.
People will probably be happy not to hear from one less politician. But it is budget day tomorrow. In fact, if anybody didn't see, the mayor was with me when I bought my shoes today. It's a tradition for finance ministers to buy a new pair of shoes, and we saw Dave at the work boot store over on Bailey, and so now I'm all ready for what's going to be one of two budgets. You know, it's interesting in Ontario, we're going to have a November budget this year, and then we're going to have one in March because of the challenges that have come forward with COVID. But anyways, this is a great show. I've been watching Dr. Kyle. Dr. Kyle, great to see you. Always learn something when I get to hear, and you and your team are doing just a fantastic job. Thank you on behalf of all of us for keeping us all safe. It's been really great to watch the public health team work in Durham.
Well, thank you for your introductory remarks, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions, so let's get right to it. Rachel, who do we have on the line?
Excellent. We have a lot of questions coming in, so please continue to ask your questions below in our Facebook feed, and you can also submit them through IMO at ajax.ca/mth. So our first question is about the budget. You are delivering a budget during a truly unprecedented time tomorrow. What can we expect from tomorrow's budget announcement?
Well, you know, when we were originally going to deliver a budget back in March, literally on March 25th of this year, and in 10 days we had to pivot because a state of emergency was declared, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. And so we shifted, and instead of doing a budget, which is a multi-year projection, we actually only did a one-year plan. And that plan, our first response to COVID, had $17 billion. Later, it became $30 billion. But tomorrow's budget is really going to be the next step in that plan. It has three main components. We're focused on protecting Ontarians. Premier Ford made a commitment around doing what was required to protect people, and it's really the articulation of that. There's a second section around support for communities. We worked with Mayor Collier and the other big city mayors and others to provide $4 billion, for example, support to municipalities and their transit systems. And then recover. So protect, support, and recover. And we're starting to talk about recover because even though we're in the middle of a second wave, and it might seem a bit strange to start to talk about that, we need to start to focus on the things we need to do to support our businesses, to support our employers. Of course, we have immediate support that we've provided them, but thinking about the future as well. So the budget is really going to be about making sure that we know that we have the resources to keep protecting Ontarians, supporting our communities, and working towards that recovery.
Excellent. Rachel?
Excellent. So the questions just continue to keep coming in. So please continue to ask your questions in the comment section below or through IMO. Our next question. When the town first became aware of the possible development over the Crothers Creek headwaters, the former mayor and council started petitions and resident letter writing campaigns to object this development. In fact, some community centers were used for presentations and allowed petition signing at the same time. Why was this course of action not used for Duffins Creek?
Is that a question to me or to the mayor?
Well, I think we can both answer it. I'll start. This was actually something that was sent directly to Minister Clark, the Municipal Affairs and Housing, and was actually outside. We didn't find out about it till later, but it was, we have been in good faith negotiations with the City of Pickering for the last little over 4 months, trying to resolve some of the concerns that we had. As to making it a public process, I can't speak to that. I think only Minister Clark can actually speak to whether it would have been a public process or not. Minister, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, sure. And listen, on Carruthers Creek, as I understand it, that was a application that was made. The minister decided not to pursue it for a variety of reasons. And there was a number of people that reached out, including a number of residents of Ajax who reached out to my office and to me directly. And I spoke with them about their concerns. And the minister made a decision not to proceed with that. In this case, the minister's order was requested by Pickering, by the other community. And listen, I think there were some good things around the transportation problems. In fact, I know some of the discussions around dealing with the Notions Road overpass and some of the intersections, those were good progress that were made. But finally, the minister, as is the case with all minister zoning orders, would have made the decision. It's a decision of the minister, not of the cabinet, to go ahead and make sure that that they've looked at the various issues that were related to it.
Yeah. I know it's not part of why this wasn't a public process, but we definitely, Town of Ajax, are making this public now because this is not something that we support. So there's going to be more things coming. I understand Pickering the mayor put out a statement today regarding, the wetland there. So this is still an ongoing process. The MZO has been issued, but there's still more to it that needs to happen before it can actually move ahead.
Yeah, and I should say, if I can, Mr. Mayor, I know. Again, I think the town has made its position quite clear, and I know it's made it clear to the minister. I know that the Toronto Region Conservation Authority has got a mandate to negotiate with the developer that's involved around Duffins Creek. But I think the town in this case has been, making the issue public and raising concerns. And obviously, I'm concerned as well. I want to make sure that agreement does what it says it will do, which means that it will at least protect or leave a better situation than was found. And as I said, I am pleased on the transportation side, because even when we go back to the whole battle about Ajax Downs, we'll remember that was going to be closed down previously, and we managed to save that, all of us together, 1,700 jobs. But we knew that this other development was going to be coming, and of course we're excited about the jobs in Durham there, but we were concerned about the traffic. So I think there's been some good progress on that, and I know the town is making itself heard, particularly on the environmental issues.
Right. Okay, next question, Rachel.
All right. Can you tell us an update just on the hospital expansion in Ajax?
Oh, great subject. Yeah, the fast build.
And really, this is the first expansion of Ajax Pickering Hospital in more than a generation. It's really exciting, and it's part of the response to the long-term care tragedy that has been a part of COVID-19 around the world, but here in Ontario. So the decision that we made as a government was to build pilots and to try 4 separate pilots, one of them in Ajax, that are going to be a campus of care model. That campus of care model is going to integrate the long-term care facilities into the campus. And we all know Ajax Pickering, there's room around the hospital, but build it right there. And I have to tell you, the people at Lakeridge, the people at Ajax Pickering have been fantastic about supporting that. I was so pleased that Ajax was picked for one of these pilots. It'll be 320 long-term care beds. And those beds are scheduled, the mayor mentioned quick build. Those beds are actually scheduled to be built by December of next year. So, normally these kinds of developments and buildings, would take 3, 4, 5 years to get completed. But in really just over a year, we're going to have that fully functioning long-term care facility and a really important expansion of our hospital. So this is part of a broader strategy that the government is pursuing around long-term care. We announced on Monday as a lead up to the budget that we'll now be expanding to have 4 hours of care per day for all residents. That'll make Ontario the leader in terms of care for people. Obviously, we're learning a lot out of what happened and out of the real tragedy that happened from COVID-19 in our long-term care homes and in long-term care homes around the world, and trying to, we have a commission that's reviewing and an associate justice who's giving us recommendations. But as we get the recommendations, we're implementing them. And this quick build is going to be one of them, and it's going to be great. It's a number of jobs for Ajax as well and development, but most importantly, a safe, state-of-the-art place for our elders.
Yeah, much needed long-term care beds. Durham region has the longest wait time for getting into long-term care. So this will really help address that, as well as our other long-term care facility that we just had approved in Ajax as well. That's another 152 beds or something. So that together is almost 500 new beds in Ajax. Do we know what the dollar value is of this investment for this new fast build? I remember at the time it was going through the RFP, so we weren't sure.
Yeah, it's still, it'll be in the hundreds of millions of dollars when the time it is actually completed. And remember, a big part of this is staffing as well. Yeah. One of the really key elements of this, we need the facilities and we need the beds, and we've committed to building 30,000 new beds, and this is part of that commitment. But one of the real challenges that we have to address collectively, and that our government has taken on, is making sure that we have the PSWs, the nurses, the RNAs to be in there to supporting our elders. We estimate that we're going to need, in the next 4 years, as we ramp up to that 4 hours a day of care. Right now it's about 2.5. The highest in Canada is about 3.5. So Ontario will be that leader, but we're going to need about another 24,000 healthcare professionals. We've also been raising the wages of our PSWs because we know one of the issues has been that people don't stay in those jobs for long. So this is part of a larger term strategy, and we're going to see it play out right in Ajax, right at that Ajax Pickering site. And again, I just have to thank the people from Lakeridge. They've been so cooperative with our government around getting this done.
And I've already had discussions with our planning staff, and we're going to do everything we need to do to help expedite this process as well and get those shovels in the ground. I think we have time for one more, Rachel, and then we'll get the whole panel back.
Sounds great. So our last question for Minister Phillips is, what are you hoping to see for Ajax as we recover through COVID-19?
Well, I mean, like everybody, I'd like to see life get back to normal. I'd like to see us not have to go, to the grocery store with a mask on, and I'd like us to be able to get together in somebody's basement and, not have to worry that Dr. Kyle's going to come in and, kick down the door. And I think that, I think that's a little ways away. I mean, we are working very hard in this country and elsewhere on a vaccine because of the great work of our frontline health professionals and just some of the smartest people in the world, the researchers. We're going to have a vaccine, but we're a bit of a ways away from that. So I'd love life to get back to normal. We need to make sure that we're thinking about that time, and that's part of the focus of tomorrow's budget is going to be what do we be needing to do now to be set for recovery. In the meantime, we really, really have to help out some of the people that are hardest hit. The passion that we've heard for our frontline health providers, the passion for our Main Street businesses, people particularly in businesses that are tourism-related businesses and travel-related businesses. Some of these businesses have been just hit so hard. So it's been so great to see people reaching out in the meantime and being helpful, people doing takeaway food and now going in and being able to eat in restaurants in Ajax and enjoy that. I think that's what we should do in the meantime. And then I'm just going to be really happy when we can get back to the kind of things we used to worry about and not a global pandemic.
Yeah, I think we'll all be very happy when that happens. Well, thank you, Minister. I really appreciate you being here and your answers. I'd now like to bring back all of our other guests, and we'll just have a panel discussion for a few minutes. So stay on the line, and we'll bring them back. Welcome back, everybody. Now you can all meet virtually. I just want to remind our folks that are tuned in that you're welcome to please keep sending your questions you have for any member of our panel in the Facebook comments or either via ajax.ca/mth. And Rachel, let's go right to our questions while we've got the whole panel here.
Perfect. Our first question is actually for you, and it's around Durham Region Transit. So now that we have the new
good.
on-demand services, how can they support local businesses and getting people around from point A to point B, and new businesses like Amazon that's bringing lots of employees to Ajax?
Well, there's two questions there. The on-demand has actually been a huge success. It's increased ridership somewhere, I think it's in the neighborhood of 60% of what it was. So the on-demand has worked really, really well. And what that is areas that had unused service, like empty buses. We stopped running those empty buses and we started this on-demand. And we actually have created at the region an app for on-demand that you can download specifically and use that. So it will, if you live within the certain area where that route was, you use the app, you can have a bus there within 15 minutes, take you wherever you need to go. As far as supporting the local businesses, I mean, of course, we want everybody to be out supporting local. And we were talking about that today with Dave at the work boot place as well. And it's like, why isn't the town sending their employees there, local business? So I'm going to talk about that. But as far as the bus network, I mean, we want to get you up into our areas so you can support our local businesses. I understand one of the challenges buses to get from South Ajax up to Highway 2, and that's something that we're working on. But as far as the on-demand service, it has worked out very, very well, and the numbers have just been huge. And actually, Metrolinx has contracted with the region for our data for the on-demand service in Pickering, so they can look at that model for other areas. And we just found that out today at the Transit Executive meeting.
I'm wondering if Minister Phillips has anything else to add just in terms of transit projects coming to Ajax and Durham.
Well, we are, deeply committed and working hard with the region. And of course, Mayor Collier chairs transportation at the Durham region level. On the all-day two-way GO, we've expanded the number of GO trains, the amount of service. But what we're moving forward with is the expansion, of course, out to Clarington. And we've had a lot of good discussions at the regional level about that. But also the just renovation of that whole system. We need basically a land subway that's running, in 15 or 20-minute increments along those rails, and that involves new rolling stock, that involves significant investments. We've set aside tens of billions of dollars that are being deployed to make that change across the GTA, and we need to make sure that Lakeshore East line is one of the first lines that gets upgraded. It's going to make a big difference in terms of traffic and getting people back and forth between Toronto and Ajax and other parts of Durham.
And Minister, thank you for bringing up the Bowmanville extension, because that was one of the things that was discussed in the Metrolinx update that we had with lots of members from the region. I think all the mayors from the region were on this call, and it's actually accelerated. And that was really great news to hear that it's actually in the next 18 months they're going to be starting that, when we were thinking that it was a much further out time frame. So that was some good news as well to get people moving across. So thank you for adding that.
Thank you. The next question is a combo for Amazon and for Invest Durham. So how will Amazon work with our local economic development teams, such as the ones in Ajax, but also more broadly in Durham region, to really profile this new fulfillment center coming to Ajax?
Who would like to start with that one? Here's Simon. You want to go first? Can I put you on the spot?
Sure. Yeah, happy to take a crack at it. So. One thing that we can definitely work really closely together on is profiling all of the fantastic assets that we have to offer to the logistics, transportation, distribution, and fulfillment sector, and the e-commerce sector. We have tremendous strength in the region, in our business community, in those areas. Our transportation infrastructure is fantastic. Our business community is always innovating to solve major problems all the time in bridging gaps between vendors and customers, and it's obviously being accelerated in COVID now, trying to create those connections between vendors and customers. So I think Amazon is going to be a great partner in telling the story of why the region is a great place for new investment in logistics, new investment in infrastructure related to transportation, warehousing, and fulfillment. And yeah, I'll pass it over to my colleague at Amazon.
Samega, do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah. Like I said, we are super excited to be in Ajax, and one of the reasons that we chose the Ajax is because of A, being closer to customers, and also B, with the talented workforce that's there to help support our business grow as we get into the newer markets. We have over 30,000 small businesses actually that sell on Amazon.ca, and we're very excited to be expanding here, supporting the community, and being a part of the community growth over here. So all in all, something that we're really looking forward to.
And I'll just add that whole business park is on 2 major transit routes. So it's a great opportunity to get people out of their cars, get them to and from, and that's great to see as well. So thank you for those answers. Do we have a couple more questions, Rachel?
We have just one final question for Dr. Kyle, and then we'll just move into closing remarks. So Dr. Kyle, as we're getting set to go into the holiday season, do you think that we'll be able to celebrate with our families as we move into the holidays?
So thank you for the question. I think the short answer is yes, but we have to bear in mind that ideally, when we celebrate, it should be with our household members, particularly those who live in the same house. And so the social gathering limits, the social gathering rules apply to Christmas as they did for Thanksgiving, as they did for Halloween. So I hope I'm not the bearer of bad news, but I don't think the second wave in COVID-19 will take a break for Christmas. So we need to continue to be vigilant, and we need to adhere to, among other things, gathering limits.
And I think the best thing we can do right now is just bite the bullet and do that. And if we do that and we do that well, then maybe things will be freed up a little bit when Christmas comes.
I would like to think, I know that I only had 1 minute, but you can shop locally and, look at staying within your own household as an opportunity to focus locally. And obviously take out gifts and so forth within your own community, I think is a great idea, and certainly consistent with the messages that I've heard tonight. So bear that in mind.
Excellent, thank you. Well, I'm trying very much to respect everybody's time. We're right on time here, so we'll stop it there. I'd like to thank each of our panelists for joining us this evening, and just give you each an opportunity for any final thoughts you'd like as we leave. And let's just go in the same order we started. So we'll start with Simon. You want to wrap it up?
Well, sure. Thanks, Mayor. And thank you, everyone, for all the great comments.
Can we just, Minister Phillips, can we just go in reverse order and start with Minister Phillips, please?
I suppose we can do that. Was this prearranged? All right, Simon, do you mind? We'll go back to Minister Phillips. Go ahead.
Sorry, Simon. Listen, I'm going to stay on and listen to what you have to say too, Simon. Listen, really thanks. This is great. Mayor, you and the council doing a great job of getting out and having people hear about what's going on. Thank you for letting me participate. To everybody who's on, my constituency office number is 905-427-2060, 905-427-2060, or email us at rod.phillips@pc.ola.org. You'll either get me or Edward or Dawn or Shima. So anything that we can help with, please let us know. But again, Sean, well done, and good for you for having this forum. I think it's a great idea, and it's really a pleasure to be a part of it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm trying to remember who was last. Dr. Kyle would be next then, if we're going in reverse order.
Yeah, so the only thing I would add to my previous comments, Mayor Collier, is to thank your viewers for their vigilance. As I said previously, I know pandemic fatigue has set in. I know the response and the limits, et cetera, have been terribly disruptive. The last thing I would say is I think we've had tremendous support from the provincial government. I know Minister Phillips and his colleagues in Durham region have been very attentive to what's been happening, and words of encouragement, support, and so forth have been very much welcomed at the local level. So thanks to the province and our colleagues there as well.
Right.
Otherwise, good night.
Thank you. Samega, you're next.
Yeah, just want to say thank you. We are very excited to become a part of community in Ajax. And thank you, Mayor, for all the support that you've provided so far. Really looking to grow here, and stay safe, everyone.
Well, we keep saying that, we're partners, and we are. So anything you need, reach out to us, and our staff will be happy to do what we can. And Simon, you get the last word. Well, no, I get the last word, but you get the last word before me.
Maybe what I'll close with is just for everyone to remember to support local this holiday spending season. There's just a huge number of great small retailers and stores in Durham region that need your help this holiday season. So think local first. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our guests for joining us this evening for this special 2020 edition of Live with the Mayor. Please continue to follow all public health guidelines to stop the spread of COVID-19 and continue to connect with the town and Ajax Council. We're all in this together. Have a great evening, everybody. Stay safe and be well. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sean.